Chapter 13. I'm in the middle of discussing the best method of roasting potatoes when Jen flings open the kitchen door. Her hair is bobbing with the movement and her eyes are painted like two gold hubcaps. "Were you aware that Adele was putting makeup on me, live on YouTube?" Her hand rests on her hip, and this is bad. Really bad. "No," I say immediately, looking at David, who gives a slightly smug smile. "I did ask you over the phone. You agreed," David says, turning back to the cooker to stir cream in a saucepan. I tried desperately to recall the conversation while Jen glares at me with her most formidable animosity. I'd almost forgotten what it felt like. "I didn't realise that you meant doing the makeup on YouTube." "Well, it looks fantastic." David gestures towards Jen, putting on his charm. "No harm done." Jen gives a sarcastic snort. "Ha! I wouldn't be too sure about that." David looks at her and his smile fades. She folds her arms and leans against the doorway. "I mean, I'm sure she can delete it." Jen shrugs. "Delete what?" David's tone is menacing, but somewhat offset by his white apron and wooden spoon. When Jen doesn't reply, he walks out to find Adele. As soon as he's gone, Jen turns her look of disdain to me. "Jen, I'm so sorry," I grovel, moving closer and taking her hand. "I had no idea. No wonder she was talking like an advert. I feel like an idiot." She gives a little noise, half sob and half laugh. I wrap my arms around her and squeeze. By the time she pulls away, she's laughing. It's all very unnerving. "What were you saying to David?" I look down into her eyes, glowing like an Egyptian tomb. "I said a few personal things which he probably wouldn't want on YouTube," she says, raising an eyebrow. "Although I didn't realise I was on YouTube at the time." "What did you say?" Before she can answer, David bursts back into the room. "Why did you mention the case?" His face is distorted with anger, and I've never seen him like this. He's usually a master of cool reactions. I feel instant guilt because I'm the one who told Jen that David was being sued for unfair dismissal by a teacher at our previous school. "I didn't say anything specific," Jen spits back. "Worried that your perfect image is going to be sullied? I would have thought you should be worried about how you're treating your staff right now." "I've given you a promotion," David says. "What more do you want?" "An end to the glass ceiling and culture of misogyny that you have brought to Whitlock." Jen is truly impressive in these situations. She seems to be at her most eloquent when angry and under duress. Nevertheless, I'm standing in the kitchen feeling extremely awkward. I thought this sort of thing only happened in movies. We were supposed to be here for dinner and it's turned into a soap opera. "You need to apologise to Adele," David lashes back. "She's worked so hard to build her following." "I don't bloody care about her following." Jen's voice is getting louder. "She didn't even ask my permission before she pressed the button." "I take full responsibility for this misunderstanding," I interject, holding my hands up. "I obviously did not grasp what David was asking on the phone earlier. Please, both of you, accept my apologies. Let's not spend our Saturday night arguing." "Well, I'm certainly not going to spend it here." Jen stomps towards the front door. I give David an apologetic look. "I'm sorry, David." I hurry after Jen out to the car, and she climbs in and slams the door shut. "I can't believe it." She shakes her head, stunned with anger and disbelief. "Jen," I begin. "Just drive," she snaps. I pull out and move through the neighbourhood, then spot a McDonald's and park outside. "We need to talk about this." I turn off the engine. But when I look at Jen, there are tears in her eyes. "Come here." I attempt to hug her across the gear stick. "No," she says, leaning forward and grabbing tissues out of her handbag. "I need to get this stuff off my face." She pulls down the mirror and wipes away the shimmer, sniffing. "I didn't know, Jen," I say helplessly. "I'm so sorry." "I know," she says, with a sigh of resignation. The silence is heavy. "Are you mad at me?" I ask. She doesn't answer for a few seconds. "Do you remember when you said that it wasn't about you rescuing me, but me saving you?" she says. I remember. We were sitting in my car, just like we are now, pulled over in a lay-by. Then we kissed. "Well, sometimes I need rescuing too," she says, and her voice catches. "What do you mean?" She seemed to be doing a pretty good job of kicking David's ass without my intervention. I mean that we would never have gone to David's in the first place if you'd asked me before agreeing to it. It was in the bar. It was busy. Adele put me on the spot, I argue, then sigh. I thought it was a good opportunity to rebuild the relationship with David. Rebuild? Her voice is shrill. Well, I was always at ground zero with him anyway. You don't actually want to be friends with him after all that's happened, do you? I look out of the window at the brightly lit restaurant with balloons at the entrance. I wish everything was as simple as getting a Happy Meal and a free balloon. I think that given he's our boss, we both need to find a way to get along with him, professionally. That doesn't mean we need to spend Saturday night with him. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't help a pinch of anger creeping into my tone. I'm not like you. When I'm put on the spot, I don't have eloquent speeches. I just want to keep the peace. Real peace doesn't overlook injustice. This woman is amazing. I'm breathless just looking at her eyes, shining with tears rather than cosmetics now, and I reach out to touch her cheek. I love you, Jen. She blinks at me, her mouth opening in shock. What? She says. I realise that a seismic event is occurring, and it's in the McDonald's car park. I love you, I repeat. For an awful moment, I think she's going to break up with me. Then her hands cut my face and she pulls me into a kiss. When she draws back, she's laughing and wiping a tear away. I love you too, Michael, she says, even though you drive me crazy.